Hello, now let us continue with the second part of our lecture on T.S. Eliot's poem The Wasteland. As we gave an outline of the context in the previous lecture, we will straight away go to the poem now with three sections. We have section 3, section 4 and section 5. We will analyze the poem linguistically and rhetorically, offer some readings with reference to the voices in the poem, because we have many voices, multiple voices, we call them polyphonic voices. The key feature of this poem is Holy Grail myth, which gives some kind of unity to the poem. We have a critical reading from Cleanth Brooks, which is interesting for us to look at. The Wasteland has 5 sections: the burial of the dead, a game of chess, we have already seen this. Now we will go to the 3 sections: the fire sermon, death by water and what the thunder said. Let us begin with the fire sermon. As we saw earlier, we will have some extracts, not the whole poem. For the whole poem we have to go to the not an anthology of poetry or poetry foundation. Let us read some selections from the fire sermon now. At the violet hour, when the eyes and back turn upward from the desk, when the human engine waits like a taxi throbbing waiting, I, Tiresias, though blind, throbbing between two lives, old man with wrinkled female breasts, can see at the violet hour the evening hour that strives homeward and brings a sailor home from sea. The typist home at tea time clears her breakfast, lights her stove and lays out food in tins. Out of the window perilously spread her drying combinations, touched by the sun's last rays on the divan, or piled at night her bed, stockings, slippers, camisoles and stays. It gives the picture of a modern life in an evening where a woman has come home from her office and another man also follows her for their evening pleasures, without much understanding, without much meaning. Why they are doing, why they are meeting, they have no idea. We have a key point in this passage, that is Tiresias. This Tiresias is a Greek prophet, a seer. He could foresee the future, he has a myth of his own. He was a man transformed into a woman and then again transformed into a man, but blind, one who can predict the future. This is a kind of Tiresias that we have, and T.S. Eliot and many other critics have said that this Tiresias is the center of consciousness in this poem. Whatever happens in the poem, we see through the eyes of Tiresias. The scene, urban scene, is presented through Tiresias, through the blind man. The scene is further described to us. He, the young man carbuncular, arrives, a small house agent's clerk with one bold stare, one of the low on whom assurance sits as a silk hat on a Bradford milliner. The time is now propitious as he guesses the meal is ended. She is bored and tired, endeavours to engage her in caresses which still are unreproved. If undesired, flushed and decided, he assaults at once. Exploring hands encounter no defense, his vanity requires no response and makes a welcome of indifference. Bestows one final patronizing kiss and gropes his way, finding the stairs unlit. Here are the man and the woman, they are meeting, and they are meeting for some kind of physical contact with each other, but then they don't know why they are meeting each other physically in this way. There is no sense of meaning, there is no sense of love and affection, there is no sense of relationship between the two, but still they are participating in the act of sex without giving attention to each other, without understanding each other, without any relationship between each other. This is a kind of alienated modern life, meaningless life that T.S. Eliot was worried about. We move to the next section. This is the shortest section in the poem. We have just 10 lines called Death by Water. Phlebas the Phoenician, a fortnight dead, forgot the cry of gulls and the deep sea swell and the profit and loss. A current under sea picked his bones in whispers. As he rose and fell, he passed the stages of his age and youth, entering the whirlpool. Gentile or Jew, O you who turn the wheel and look to windward, consider Phlebas, who was once handsome and tall as you. This is considered to be a very important passage because it deals with the theme of death and also life, and also it points to some of the contradictions that we have in life. We do many things, but finally everything is meaningless because death cannot understand. After death we have only forgetfulness, we cannot recall, we can't remember anything. Death does not differentiate between profit and loss, it does not differentiate between rising and falling, it does not differentiate between age and youth or Gentile or Jew, that is Christians or non-Christians or belonging to various regions or religions or languages. Death does not differentiate, understand. That is what Eliot was trying to convey, his understanding of life through this poem. Phlebas, again the Phoenician, is a story, one who drowned in the sea, and then when his body was floating in the water, this consciousness after death, the consciousness of the dead man is presented to us. A current under sea picked his bones in whispers. As he rose and fell, he passed the stages of his age and youth, some kind of recalling, remembering of whatever happened. Finally entering the whirlpool, nothing is there. The whirlpool of time, the whirlpool of death, the whirlpool of history, that is what we have in this poem. We move on to the last section of the poem, what the thunder said, referring to the element of sky. After the torchlight red on sweaty faces, after the frosty silence in the gardens, after the agony in stony places, the shouting and the crying, prison and palace and reverberation of thunder of spring over distant mountains, he who was living is now dead, we who were living are now dying, with a little patience. It has a lot of resonance with Christianity, the kind of temptations, the kind of sufferings Jesus went through in many contexts, the agony in stony places, the shouting and crying, all that suffering is inevitable. What the thunder said, second part, or we have a second extract from this poem. If there were water and no rock, if there were rock and also water, and water a spring, a pool among the rock, if there were the sound of water only, not the cicada and dry grass singing, but sound of water over a rock, but there is no water. There is a search for water, there is search for renewal of life, but there is nothing. What is that sound high in the air, murmur of maternal lamentation? Who are those hooded hordes swarming over endless plains, stumbling in cracked earth, ringed by the flat horizon only? What is a city over the mountains, cracks and reforms and bursts in the violet air, falling towers? Jerusalem, Athens, Alexandria, Vienna, London, unreal. Nothing is real. All kinds of sounds, probably referring to the kind of bombings that happened in Europe at that time. These are all important cities from various points of view, from political, religious points of view, from intellectual point of view. These cities are very important, but these are unreal. One more. In this decayed hole among the mountains, in the faint moonlight, the grass is singing. Over the tumbled graves about the chapel, there is a empty chapel. Only the wind's home, it has no windows, and the door swings. Dry bones can harm no one. Only a cock stood on the roof tree. Cocorico, cocorico, in a flash of lightning, then a damp gust bringing rain. This is a kind of biblical reference we have with reference to Jesus Christ being betrayed by Peter. We have the last extract from this poem. I sat upon the shore fishing with the airy plain behind me. Shall I at least set my lands in order? London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. Then we have some quotations from Latin, we will not read them. These fragments I have showed against my ruins, why then I will fit you. Higher Nemo is mad again, Datta, Dayadvam, Damyata, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. That's how the poem ends. We have the last section of the poem here again for us to understand better. Line number 424 refers to the Fisher King from Weston's book From Ritual to Romance, from which he took this myth of Holy Grail. 425 refers to Prophet Isaiah's words on setting his house in order. Then 426 is about the nursery rhyme on the London Bridge. 427 is a quotation from Dante's Purgatory. Here we have this meaning, then he himself in the fire that refines them. Then line number 428, when shall I be like the swallow, from a Latin poem. This is an anonymous poem actually. Then 429 we have the Prince of Aquitaine of the ruined tower. This is the second line from a poet Neverd, whose sonnet The Dispossessed is a source. Then line number 431, Hieronymo is mad again, from Thomas Kyd's The Spanish Tragedy, a Renaissance play. Then lastly we have in line number 432, GSC means give, sympathize and control, from Brihadaranya Upanishad from the Hindu tradition. And lastly the chanting of Shanti 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 is also from the Hindu tradition, looking for peace, or it is a prayer of peace. Eliot was not happy with the Christianity because it did not give him much meaning, and that is why he explored alternative meanings. Pound also explored, similarly Yeats also explored. Many modernist poets were trying to find meaning, peace, order, some sense of living in different traditions. We have given these kinds of explanations in this slide because every line in Eliot's poem will be required to be annotated like this. We need to read the whole poem with a lot of time, with a lot of additional help from different sources. After reading the poem, we can now pay attention to the thematic contrast we have between sterility and fertility, between the individual and the social, between sin and redemption, profit and loss, age and youth, destruction and preservation, death and life, death in life and life in death, betrayal and loyalty, disorder and order, and finally war and peace. War, First World War, all kinds of conflicts for various reasons. What we need finally, what we long for finally is peace in personal life, in professional life, in social life, in political life, everywhere, for everybody. That is why various systems we have created in the form of religion, in the form of marriage, in the form of education, in the form of administration, governance, everything. But when these systems crumble, where will the individual go to understand where he stands or where she stands? This is the agony of the modern man from T.S. Eliot. T.S. Eliot is a great poet, no doubt about it. He has used lot of poetic devices. Simile, one of the best similes we can have, this is a typical modernist simile. When the human engine waits like a taxi, throbbing, waiting, throbbing and waiting. Throbbing also refers to Tiresias' heart throbbing as well. Alliteration, stockings, slippers, camisoles and stays, yes, stands for this alliteration. All objects used by the lady typist. We have simile and metaphor in this. One of the low on whom assurance sits as a silk hat on a Bradford millionaire. Hat sitting on the head of somebody, referring to a millionaire, but this man is an ordinary man, the agent. Irony we have in this line, the time is now propitious as he guesses. The young man, carbuncular man, feels the time is propitious. Propitious is a Latinate word used in the context of religion, but here this man is going to meet the lady for sex, and Eliot is using the word propitious ironically. We have a metaphor in flushed and decided. He assaults at once, exploring hands, encounter no defense. The impact of war is so much even in the physical intimacy between people, ordinary people like this typist and this agent. The military metaphor is used in this context. We have the personification in the river sweats, oil and tar, of course ironically. Then we have the symbol in fish which symbolizes life. We have more poetic devices. One anaphora here. after the torchlight red on sweaty faces, after the frosty silence in the gardens, after the agony in stony places. After is repeated at the beginning of every line here. Then we have chiasmus in here is no water but only rock, rock and no water and the sandy road. No water but only rock, that is reversed, rock and no water. Alliteration we have in these lines, but red sullen faces sneer and snarl, dead mountain mouth of carious teeth that cannot spit. Onomatopoeia, one example we have drip drop, drip drop, drop drop, drop. We have onomatopoeia and alliteration together in these lines. Murmur of maternal lamentation, mama mama, murmur of maternal lamentation. Then we have who are those hooded hordes swarming, who, ha sound and also oo sound, both are mingled here in this case. Again we have this personification in the grass is singing. One more onomatopoeia we have kokariko, kokariko. Now let us come to this rhyme, rhythm and meter in this poem. We continue with some assonance and song and repetition and then look at some rhymes and rhythm and meter. Young man carbuncular has the example of assonance, and also we have another line and the deep C swell E, that vowel represents assonance. Then we have song ve la la le. We have not quoted that, and there are many quotations from various sources, songs, poems, drama, opera, history, so many things we have in this religion, religious texts. We have many sources in this poem. We have repetition in words, images, tones, themes. Here we have this example of connect nothing with nothing. We have some end rhymes, of course. Song, long, hear, ear in lines 183, 186. Live, see, strive, see in lines 219 and 221. Rest, guest in 229 and 230. All, bed, wall, dead in line numbers 243 and 246. Glass, lover, pass over and alone, hand, gramophone in lines 249 and 256. We have listed them to indicate that Eliot has used end rhymes also in spite of this poem being written in free verse. As we said earlier in the first lecture, the rhythm of common speech is found in this poem because various kinds of people speak in this poem, not just one kind of person or one section of people speak in this poem. As we further said again, polymetrical is the correct word to describe the meter in this poem. No specific meter is used. All kinds of variations are there, probably to indicate the kind of disorder we have in modern life. To give an overall impression, let us see. The fire sermon of the Buddha and St. Augustine preaches that the sexual desire be burnt down and controlled. Self-control is one kind of philosophy taught by religion from the west and also from the east. Death by water emphasizes that death is a precondition for renewal of life. Death is the greatest teacher. Death may be called the leveler, but death is the teacher which puts us down to the proper place where we are. We have no control over death. Death will come at any time. Let us remember that we are perishable, we are mortal. We do not have to worry too much about profit and loss, not to worry about age and youth. Then we have lack of water or life converts earth into a wasteland. Earth is a wasteland because there is no water. It is possible to bring rain by recognizing the divine in us and around us through the section what the thunder said. The discipline of giving by gods, the discipline, that is the practice, the control, self-control, the discipline of giving by gods, sympathizing by human beings and controlling by demons can create and sustain a compassionate world. When we do not have anybody to give us, when we do not have anybody to sympathize with us, when we do not have anybody to control themselves or ourselves, the world is full of chaos. The experiences of life are fragmentary, which can be brought together through the Hindu philosophy of understanding each one's nature and acting accordingly for peace in the world. Self-understanding is the best understanding for peace in the world. Some special attention is required for the multiple voices we have in this poem under this section, Polyphonic Voices. The form of this poem is dramatic monologue. This is a poem with multiple speakers. The whole poem is based on this myth of the Fisher King, which has a reference to Christ. Fisher King is a symbol for Christ. Christ is also referred to in the poem as Son of Man. That is where we find different layers all coming together in this poem. The whole poem is organized mythically and musically. When it comes to music, we can see the number of assonance, alliteration, onomatopoeia, repetition, rhyme and rhythm that we have looked into this poem. Now let us see the voices of different kinds of people, old and young, wise and ignorant, ancient and modern, domestic and commercial. All kinds of people from different areas of life. Then kings and queens, lords and ladies, fortune tellers, priests and plebeians, that is common people. Then we have saints, disciples, merchants, typists, clerks. We have gods, devils, men, women, boys, girls, children, everybody we have. Working people, common people, soldiers. We also have the animal world, birds and animals. We have 3 examples, nightingale, swallow and hawk. We also have much more than these human and animal voices. Non-human sounds are also heard in this poem. Turning of the key, the sound of the wind, the musical recording, gramophone, the sound of water and also thunder. All these voices put together make up the world of the wasteland. The myth of Holy Grail is central to understanding this poem. In fact, this is the myth that gives unity to the poem according to T.S. Eliot. So, the source is J.L. Weston's From Ritual to Romance, published in 1920. There are certain prototypes for this myth. The wasteland is a prototype, the Fisher King, the hidden castle with its solemn feast and mysterious feeding vessel, the bleeding lance and cup, a king in search of the Holy Grail to bring life back to people. This is a common myth in many cultures, but the church, the Christian church represses this pre-Christian myth because it wants to propagate only Christian myth. But T.S. Eliot and many others have shown that the Grail is a living force. It will never die. It may disappear for a while, but it returns again and again as a theme of vital inspiration for poets like Tennyson and Wagner and earlier Malory. It enacts contact with the unseen spiritual force of life. This myth is required because we need to have this contact with the spiritual force of life. When we lose contact, we are dead. That is what the poem tries to show us. We have a critical reading of this poem by Cleanth. We have tons and tons of readings, but just for our sake we have only one reading here. Eliot's poetry cannot be read as an autobiography. This is a new critical principle. The basic symbol is the wasteland. Eliot's method is the ironic contrast of life and death. The great paradox that we have in this poem is sacrificial death gives life. The king, the Fisher King, has to die to give life for humanity, as Christ died for the sake of redeeming the human beings. Eliot believes that doing evil is better than doing nothing. The meaningless sexual act is an attempt to live through the boredom of life. We have this Cumean Sibyl who says, I wish to die. We have to remember Tithonus myth. You get immortality, but you do not get youth, and so you suffer throughout your life. And to get relief from this life, one has to die. But in contrast, Eliot says, I wish to live through the death of Christ and King. All of us, all human beings, we may wish to die, but again we want to get renewal of life. Referring to the 5 sections, we have these comments. The burial of the dead deals with the death in life. Tarot cards gave unity to the wasteland. Different pictures are there, like the Phoenician or the one-eyed merchant. These pictures give some kind of unity to the poem. In a game of chess, we have all kinds of people from both upper and lower classes. They play games, specifically the game of rape, physical contact between men and women without much understanding, without real love and affection. Then we have the fire sermon as a solution to this human disease, if you want to call it. The fire of lust consumes everything. All kinds of lust, including this sexual love, can consume us. That means we will be meeting with death. That is why both the Buddha and St. Augustine, they say control yourself, have some kind of discipline. That is what all kinds of religion tell us. In the section Death by Water, we see water as a symbol of relief through surrender and humility. Water is a great symbol. We have to learn a lot from water. It never flows up, it always goes down. Surrender and achieve humility, you will be safe. Then finally we come to what the thunder said, where we give meaning to what we hear according to our own nature and need. Da, when sound is heard, gods interpret it in one way, humans interpret it in another way, and demons understand Da in another way. So, according to our own nature, we understand life, we understand literature, we understand the whole world. We notice a clear shift from sterility to fertility through water at the end of the poem. The whole poem is meaningful only with reference to these 3 ideas: give, sympathize, control, take active part in life, do not be a machine, do not be a mechanical object, actively participate in life and add meaning to life, achieve meaning in life. To summarize, we have seen the second part of the wasteland with reference to some passages from section 3, section 4 and section 5. Our analysis showed multiple meanings for us in terms of poetic devices and overall understanding. We paid attention to several voices in this poem: past, present, young, old, everything is there in this poem. The whole poem achieves unity by this holy grail myth, and we also saw this Brooks reading, which gives us a new critical perspective on this poem. We can have multiple perspectives on this poem. Here are some more references. I found this 2 references interesting. One by Brooke in the second workshop on computational linguistics. They have used computer to analyze different voices in this poem, connecting it with what we are doing today in digital humanities. And the last one is a new theory called capture theory, battling with tropes in T.S. Eliot's wasteland. Those of you interested in understanding in old and new ways can look for different kinds of resources. Just I have mentioned a few here for you. Thank you.